guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm the inspirational Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And remember, never use a toilet brush to comb your hair.
Coming up, Glastonbury's round the corner. Time to party in a field.
Whoa. No more rhymes. Haven't you read the comment section?
Of course not.
They're very angry, and we are very sorry. Anyway, coming up today, I've got some news on Sami Callahan, who has been a very naughty boy.
A potential Shield reunion could well be on the cards.
We have a new WWE 24/7 champion.
And Kofi Kingston has revealed his dream match. This is the news.
We are going to start things off with everybody, literally everybody's favourite WWE performer. Ooh. Who do you think I'm talking about here? Becky Lynch, maybe?
Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins?
Seth the Chef?
No.
Maybe Kofi Kingston?
No,
Shane McMahon. Okay, so Shane has been everywhere lately. Since WrestleMania, this guy has turned into a weapons-grade troll. He dominates shows. He's on TV all the goddamn time. He is in high-profile matches. He's out here killing Roman Reigns at Super Showdown. He's recruited an army of mad goons, The Revival, Drew McIntyre, Elias, everyone.
Or as the sign said on SmackDown last night, alias.
Yeah, everyone you can think of. The guy's everywhere. Now, whether you enjoy the guy or not, it's kind of objective that he takes up a lot of airtime and he is prioritized as a pushed performer. Well,
I wonder why that is.
This has caused obviously quite a lot of resentment among the fan base. He has long been one of WWE's most divisive performers, and this has really gone through the roof in recent weeks with his role kind of enhancing, particularly among that, following that mental rumor that he might actually become WWE champion. No. Mental. The banter era continues anyway. Apparently, the discontent surrounding Shane's push extends far beyond us who are covering it and the fan base, with Fightful Select, a very reliable source, very credible source, reporting that Shane is causing a bit of discontent backstage. So here's a direct quote from them. We've not heard of Shane being criticised personally, but the decision to heavily feature him in the middle of a wild card scenario that already limits screen time for others is infuriating. And that's a really good point about the wildcard situation, because what has happened here is that all the top guys are coming over from Raw and SmackDown every single week, and it's really limiting the amount of screen time available to your mid-card and your lower card. And obviously Shane being presented as such a pushed performer, I've said that a lot in this segment, limits the screen time even further. So you've got a really nasty double-edged problem there.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday on the Raw Review podcast about potentially just scrapping the wildcard rules. It's bloody pointless, especially when Kofi turned up on Raw on Monday night and went, I'll just do what I want, sod the wildcard rule.
Yeah.
It is. It is limiting time, as you mentioned. SmackDown, the land of opportunity, has been reduced to, hey, remember this guy from Monday Night Raw? And then just a big recap show, basically. And also, aside from all that, I can understand why people might be pissed off, because I get it. All right, you install Shane as this heel figure who keeps defeating everyone by hook or by crook, and he keeps rising up the ranks, and again, as we mentioned, could potentially be facing and defeating Kofi Kingston for that WWE Championship. Yeah. And while that is pissing a lot of people off, the idea of raising someone up slowly, them just sort of cheating their way into a title shot isn't actually bad.
No, it's a pretty good story,
a trope
really.
That's happened for years and years and years with professional wrestling. It's just the fact that it's Shane McMahon that's doing it. I don't think people would be anywhere near as bothered, and it would be slightly different because obviously he's a bloody powerhouse. But if Drew McIntyre was in this position, then it's a different scenario, isn't it? It's the fact that Shane is basically taking the spot of literally anyone. It could be Elias. It could be any of the heel performers.
It is.
But instead, it's Shane McMahon, the boss's son.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And like, look, a couple of people will look at this because we're sort of covering Shane in a negative light here and say, oh, you're complaining about Shane and stuff and all this stuff. That's not really what it is. Like, I actually think he's quite a good heel. Like, his nonsense, his dancing and his over-the-top ring introduction with Greg Hamilton comes across really well as a villain. And I've actually enjoyed quite a lot of these segments. He's just really good at being an absolute git. But it's still Shane McMahon. Like, you know, the guy is, he can wrestle. He's not, like, completely inept, but he's not good either. Like, that triangle is still the worst move in wrestling. His punches still look like, you know, pillow-fisted nonsense, yet he busts people up on the regular. It probably makes him the worst puncher in pro wrestling when you think about it that way. It's a slot that could be used for someone else, and I can certainly understand why another heel on the roster might be thinking, hey, that should be me.
Let us know your thoughts on Shane's push.
He is over, though.
Oh, absolutely. He gets a reaction every single time. Right, let's move on now to a potential Shield reunion story. Now, this is a bit of a long shot, I'll give you that. But Seth Rollins was recently chatting with Wrestling AC all about Dean Ambrose, of course, Jon Moxley, who's now gone on to do fantastic stuff. Well, basically bloody everywhere.
Yeah.
New Japan, AEW. It's a very exciting time if you're a fan of his. But Seth was asked about his departure and what the future holds for them in the future. And he said, he gave me a big hug and said, "I love you, brother. It's not goodbye. I'll see you sometime." He says, "I wish him the best. You haven't seen the last of us together. I'm sure at some point down the road, we'll be putting the fists together at some time." Who knows about a Shield reunion, but never say never. Do you think that could happen literally any time in the next 5 years?
No. No, I don't. Unless we title this Seth Rollins to AEW confirmed. No, I think Jon Moxley, he's performing like a man completely revitalized. Now, 5 years is obviously quite a considerable length of time, but the guy seems very happy. It sounds like he was an absolute hell in WWE. I don't see the way WWE do business ever really changing, particularly while Vince is pulling the strings and the head honcho. And Vince is never going to retire. He's addicted to this stuff. And I'm convinced that he's Lazarus as well, and he'll just be around until he's like 200.
I found out the other day on the podcast that his mum's still alive.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, that's worrying. That should be worrying for all of us.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, it's not long now. Not long. Oh, yeah.
It's
like 98.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is literally going to be doing this until he's like 150, 200. He's just an absolute animal and a machine. I don't think we can read too much into this. I think it's just, Mr. Rollins being nice to his pal and saying, I really want to work with him again, because they're clearly very good pals.
Shield reunion confirmed. Jon Moxley leaving WWE is a work, and he'll be back by WrestleMania next year.
I was wondering when that was coming. Shall we move
Actually,
on?
no, I'm not going to do any more of it. I might just stop. That might be the last one, because any time I align with Vince Russo, it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah,
We're going to talk about it, but I don't want to give him any more airtime.
Yeah, no, you've got a good point there. As soon as Vince Russo and you fall in the same sphere, it's probably time to leave that sphere, isn't it? Or maybe just poke him with a stick or something. We're going to move on from one work to another work. We're going to talk about friend of the channel, my close personal friend, Samuel Callahan.
You're on your own with this one.
Of course, one of the busiest wrestlers on the indie scene these days, a pushed commodity in AEW, where I believe he's the top champion there. He's all over the place, he gets a lot of bookings, he's in Impact. You may remember him as Solomon Crow down in NXT. Well, there's a big story going around, and it's being reported as a shoot for some reason, even though it just reeks of pro wrestling work. Basically, he was involved in Court Bauer's MLW, Major League Wrestling promotion, up until a recent angle. He was working a feud with Mance Warner, a rising star on the indie scene himself. And they had a loser leaves town match. It was a big old brawl all the way around the arena, and it reportedly cost, according to SE Scoops, up to $10,000 in damage to the bleachers and other properties owned by the building. Now, during his ring entrance, Sammy also spat at Jim Cornette, and we have a quote here from Court Bauer on the whole situation. He says, "That makes it very, very difficult to return to the venue, which is disappointing as I enjoyed working with Sammy. He was an agent and worked hard. Fans would have enjoyed the next chapter," obviously in his feud with Mance Warner, or what he was going to do next in MLW. So it's being reported as Mr. Callahan is actually gone. It kind of reeks of a work for it, doesn't it?
I have a feeling from past experiences that this is probably a work. Now, granted, Sami Callihan and Jim Cornette, as you may have seen if you've, been on the internet, have had words with each other quite a few times, whether it be
yes, they
podcast
have.
forum or on Twitter or whatever. However, something like this strikes me as something that probably has been planned out in the back, but who knows?
Yeah. No, if it is, it's a really effective work. Like, Sammy's really, it's going to seem like I'm doing a bit here, but he's really good at these crowd brawling stuff, like hardcore matches and so forth. I saw him live for AEW last year. He's really convincing as this kind of unhedged, edgy brawler. And I haven't seen the MLW show in question, but I'm sure the match with Mance came off really well. Mance is awesome as well. Yeah, let's just kind of see what happens.
Certainly frees up his time to face Simon Miller. Right, let's move on to the next story.
Simon's going to deck him, isn't he? He's going to use him as a toothpick.
Let's move on to development with Kofi Kingston, who, of course, is set to defend his WWE Championship in a steel cage match against Dolph Ziggler at this weekend's Stomping Grounds pay-per-view. He's been recently chatting to Sports Illustrated and revealed his dream match. Who do you think it could be against?
His dream match, AJ Styles?
Is incorrect. He in fact wants to face Shane and Vince McMahon in a triple threat match, apparently. He told Sports Illustrated, I'd love to fight Shane and I'd love to get Vince in the ring too. Shane does some pretty crazy things in the ring. I assume he's talking about his punches, as with every single match that he has, so I'd love to mix it up with him. But I think it's really cool that Shane is in this role of walking the line of authority figure, but at the same time is an active superstar. Vince, book it.
I mean, fair enough, I guess. I mean, that match is probably going to happen if you believe recent rumors.
I mean, yeah, the Shane,
maybe not the triple threat.
The Shane Kofi match, I'm a bit like, but a triple threat involving Vince, sign me up.
Can we get Linda and Steph involved in there somehow as well? Just like, it's just... I thought this is ridiculous. What's he doing? What is he doing? What is Kofi Kingston up to here? Is this some kind of little jokey thing? Is this a Big E-esque rib?
I hope so.
What's he up to? Does he actually want this? I don't know. What is wrestling anymore, man?
Threat.
The banter era reigns supreme.
SummerSlam is going to happen.
See, this is the thing. We've just cut out the rhyming to kind of like, calm people down a little bit. And now we're mentioning the banter era. That's going to fire them up even more. Can't win.
Right, should we move on to SmackDown and what happened last night with the 24/7 championship?
Yes, we shall. All kinds of capers and shenanigans went down. So there was a tag team elimination match pitting The Miz and R-Truth, the Fabulous Truth, reunited for one night only against Big Drew McIntyre and Elias. Anyway, at one point in the match, all the goobers in the world kind of ran out from the back, as they tend to do, chased Truth away. He went into hiding backstage, blah, 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 usual chase stuff, all very entertaining because R-Truth is an absolute gem and the 24/7 title rules. Anyway, it boiled down to a segment. Truth was getting ready to leave the building. An SUV pulls up in the parking lot. A referee comes out. Up pops Drake Maverick, disguised as Carmella. And at the end, Truth totally falls for it. He thinks it's Carmella. He gets himself pinned. Drake Maverick puts his feet on the car for extra leverage. It's really good stuff. His boobs fall out. He pins him. He wins the belt. He escapes in the SUV. He yells something about, I'm getting married. And R-Truth gets up, puzzled, says, damn, Carmella didn't tell me she was getting married. Why wasn't I invited? Really good stuff.
This was one of the highlights of SmackDown Live. Yes, Drake Maverick is finally 24/7 champion. Well deserved. I think this storyline's been actually really good.
It's been loads of fun.
And I have a prediction as to where we go next. I talked about this yesterday, I think, on the Raw Review podcast. My prediction is, of course, Drake Maverick is getting married this weekend. We've got the Stomping Grounds pay-per-view, so we can sort of cover it if the title does change hands again very quickly. My image that I have in my head is Drake Maverick is stood at the top of the aisle. He's there waiting for his beautiful bride. She walks up, he stands there, he rolls back the veil, and it's R-Truth.
Yes.
And he pins him at the altar to become 24/7 champion.
Get in.
Ruins his entire wedding. WWE, you've taken one of my booking decisions before, R-Truth pinning Jinder Mahal on an aeroplane, and made it look brilliant before. This one is all yours. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions today. Don't forget you can tweet them to us at WhatCultureWWE. First question today comes from Dean Turk, who says, should they bring back proper #1 contender matches, or does that work negatively, watering down potential storylines?
I think it would be nice if they were built to. It seems
it would make title matches seem more important.
Yeah, it certainly would. Like it seems like they just kind of throw them together on a whim these days, and suddenly, like 1 second, there's a bunch of guys in the ring, and then all of a sudden they're wrestling, and then on the very same show we have a #1 contender for the championship opportunity.
I mean, obviously they had to do it for a while with Brock when he was Universal Champion, so they didn't have him on every pay-per-view, so the sort of main event used to be a #1 contenders match. I used to really like that, and certainly more back in the day when you really had to strive and maybe even go through like a tournament to get a shot at a certain title. I wouldn't be against that, but it would just jar a little bit if you were having that for one championship and then the others were just like, I'll pick you for facing.
Totally agree.
Second question today comes from Uesugi Kenshin.
Legend.
Got that name nailed now. Who says, do you think WWE is punishment booking Sami Zayn for his campaign that happened during Super Showdown?
I think the likelihood of that being the case is very high. He looks like a dork at the moment. Like, him and Kevin are always great. They're always really entertaining. Their promos and the little snippets of banter they put into their things always transcends poor writing. But they're being beaten like a drum at the moment, aren't they? How long was that pin on SmackDown last night, the first one? Like a minute, if that?
Bell rang. Trouble in Paradise 1, 2, 3, and then
yeah, there you go,
had a proper
straight away.
match.
Yeah, it was really weird. It does kind of feel like that, particularly as he started the Sami for Syria campaign during Super Showdown in a boss move. Yeah, no, I think so.
That. You want to do nice things for other people, do you? Show what happens
Get
to people
in the
like that in
bin.
this company. Right.
Empathy, is it? Empathy.
Don't be old bully, be a star, kids. Final question today comes from Christopher Collins, who says, do you think Shane McMahon could be the special guest referee for Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins at Stomping Ground?
Yep, 100%, yeah.
There's loads of speculation about who could be the ref for that. Some people saying Baron could make himself the referee. Some people even say he might make Brock the referee, which I'd love to see him in a referee's outfit.
I'd be totally up for that. Especially if Rollins goes after him with a chair during the match, tries to take him out. That'd be cool. That'd be cool stuff. Yeah. No, I could absolutely see Shane doing it as well. And he has his army of goons to kind of protect him from Rollins' rampage. So, yeah.
I like that.
Good
right,
stuff.
let's move on to today's and finally, and this could be one of the best stories ever.
Okay, I've seen the screenshot for this.
It centres around an interview that Barbie Blank, better known to you and I as Kelly from WWE, did with friend of the channel, Chris Van Vliet, who is going to be interviewing, or just has interviewed, our very own Simon Miller, so make sure you check that out.
Can we just put Chris Van Vliet
channel.
over for a second?
What a lovely bloke.
He's the best interviewer in the game, apart from Adam Wilborn, obviously.
Right, no, seriously, he's fantastic.
He's tremendous.
Anyway, so Kelly was chatting to Chris Van Vliet all about her time in WWE. And she talks about this. Do you remember the gimmick she sort of initially had of wanted to strip tease?
Of course.
Who was it? I can't remember who kept stopping her in ECW. It was weird. Anyway, she said, Paul Heyman called me and said, we have this idea. It's this gimmick. You're going to come out, you're going to do a strip tease, and then your jealous boyfriend is going to come and wrap you in a towel. Apparently then, this is amazing, Vince said, it'll be fine. I'll teach you the moves. And Kelly thought, well, whatever I have to just get my foot in the door. So yes, Kelly and her beautiful strip teasers and, you know, teasing that she used to do in ECW was choreographed by Vincent Kennedy McMahon. She said, I'm sitting there and I'm watching Vince McMahon, who I watched when I was 13 years old and idolised, and he's got a chair swinging his jacket around. I want you to picture Vince McMahon doing a striptease just before you go to sleep tonight.
Oh, God.
You are welcome.
Or while you're eating your dinner. Or like,
yeah.
like, I hope you're having your breakfast when you watch this, man.
She also said, never say never about potentially returning to the women's division, but congratulates them on the fantastic stuff that they've done. She said, I did miss it, but once I was doing it, I felt ready to go home and put my sweats on. But that's not the real story here. The real story here is Vince McMahon taught Kelly how to do a striptease.
I think it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Sleep well, kids. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to send your Twitter questions to us at WhatCultureWWE. Well, actually, they can follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for horrified.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.